Goblin, who is riding Western today. We have Sam on Willow, who is riding English today. And Emily is on Glorfindel, and she's riding in an archery / endurance saddle today. So we're going to show you how you can bring yoga into all styles of riding to create better balance. And when a rider is more balanced, our horses are much happier. So we can really jump up everybody's fun factor when we ride. So we're going to have a mini kind of yoga practice riding lesson. And whenever you start a traditional yoga class, we start with some breath work and centering. So I'm going to invite the audience as well to participate in some of this breath work because you'll be able to really get in the heart of the mind-body connection that we're inviting. And energetically, when everybody starts to sink and breathe in a conscious manner, it actually helps calm the horses down and creates a togetherness community feel. And you know, this is a stressful environment for these guys. And you know, we want to, again, demonstrate how we can achieve more happiness all the way around, horse and rider. So starting with our breath, you're going to really think about pulling the air in through your nose, down through your lungs, into your diaphragm, down below the pit of your stomach, really. And we're going to exhale and just let that exhale softly come out. The belly button's going to sink back to the spine. So finding a rhythm of breathing in through the nose and just consciously being aware of that and pulling a little bit more air through the lungs, a little bit extra, can help fuel your muscles and start regulating all the little nerve endings, you know, the physical connections we maintain in our whole body that our very sensitive horses pick up on. So with that centering breath, I see everybody is starting to really achieve that. I'm going to offer a yoga poem by Dana Faltz, and this really helps set the mindset of this sort of practice on a horse. So it's called Permission to be Free. A slow and steady flow of breath focuses awareness. As inner concentration grows, a hidden landscape flows into view. Sensations, emotions, thoughts, and what lies beyond all of these. The source of light and energy becomes clear. Steadiness and ease are key, and so is permission to be free. Permission to be free of rules and old beliefs. It takes years of discipline to know what rules to break, what ritual to upend next, and when simply sitting with a quiet breath is the best step I can take. So on that theme of permission to be a little freer, to sit with the quiet breath, I'm going to invite our riders to actually do something that almost everybody who has started riding lessons has probably heard a million times. And that is, I want their heels to come up a little bit. I do not want to see heels down. So our heels down is traditionally how we teach anchoring on a horse. And we are going to anchor. We're not getting rid of that. We're challenging old beliefs and old muscular patterns to rebuild into a healthier dynamic. Okay, so in this anchoring, we first tap into awareness. So A is beginning of the word anchor, so awareness. And you start mentally by softening your gaze and becoming aware of everything around you. On a horse, you want a wide view. When you get too much internal, you can forget about your partner, the horse. So with the wide eye view, using the peripheral vision, really accepting everything around you as you breathe, still coupling that soft, steady inhale through the nose, all the way down through the ribs, deep into the belly, and then exhaling slowly. You're going to start shifting things into a little slower and more concentrated effort. And with that awareness, you can already see the horses starting to slow a little bit. They're starting to breathe as well. And when we see this, you can really tap into that extra space. And when you see everything around you, you can be better prepared for anything that might crop up on a horse, whether it's on a trail and a bird comes up out of a tree, or you're in a busy schooling ring and you have horses coming up behind you. With this wider view coupled with this conscious breath, you're really giving yourself a state of present moment reaction time and anchoring in your mind. So the second part of our anchor in this yoga practice is going to be a nourish phase, okay? So here we are walking around. We're going to add in another mental component, and that is developing an intention and an I statement for this ride that we have on our horses today. So as an I statement for a typical on the yoga practice would be something like, I am here, something very simple to meditate on, or I will challenge my edge, I will be compassionate towards myself. So we can very easily take these towards our horsemanship, making a clear statement to our horses, I will be together with you today. I will be present with glory today. I will be present with Goblin today. So with these I statements, you're physically repeating in your mind a goal and intention for this ride that is something both you and your horse can agree would be terrific. And there we have set a mutual benefit for both horse and rider right from the get-go. So with that nourishing I statement being the second part of our anchoring, we'll move to the C, the center. So we've already started this with a 3-part breath. Okay, 3 parts of the breath being inhaling through the nose, down through the ribs, down into the belly. 3 parts. We have 3 sections of our breathing apparatus. The upper part between our throat and our collarbone, the middle part being our rib cage, and the lower part of our breathing being the diaphragm and below. So when you consciously activate all 3 areas of this breath, you're activating a holistic mindset in your whole body, you're activating the awareness, and you're becoming more aware of the exact center of your body. It's pretty simple. Your breast is in the middle. Your diaphragm is in the center of your solar plexus. Okay, it's the physical center of the body. It's mystical, and yet it's common sense. So when you develop an awareness down into the hip, diaphragm, rib cage area, you'll start to feel things let go. You can challenge some of those old beliefs that tend to tighten up the pelvis and the hips, and you tend to store things up in there and you don't even realize it. So breathing air into that area can really help loosen them up, and yet at the same time release them out and strengthen. You find a rhythm, steady center, and because of the way we sit on a horse, our tailbone being 1 to 3 inches off a horse's spine, we're so well connected to the horse's center that any little shift in our breathing is instantaneously felt by their back, by their being, really. And I think more experienced riders can definitely understand this, how a horse can just feel you breathe out and become that word whoa or ho, and then they anticipate it and slow down. Or vice versa, if you breathe in and through that center, you raise that energy up and your horse picks up a faster gait. Once you're aware of that, it's a very powerful way of staying connected, which again is the point, the anchor. The more anchored we can be, the closer together we can be, the more unity you can have, the more fun you can have, and it's all yoga. So the next part is harmony. So H is for harmony. And I'm going to have the riders actually start doing a yoga posture now. And it's one called Ardha Chandrasana, crescent moon. And I'll show you on the ground here. Standing, crescent moon is typically rooting down into your feet, bringing your arms up overhead with your index fingers extended. As you inhale, you stretch nice and tall. You lengthen every little bit of space in between your back and your vertebrae. And then you exhale and start to bring your body over to one side or the other. So we're opening in a nice side bend here and breathing. But the real nice thing about Ardha Chandrasana is that you learn how to push into both feet equally as you're weighting one side. So I'm going to have our riders keep one hand on the reins as they're walking. And we're modifying this for what we're doing on a horse. And if you need to, shorten your reins a little bit to keep your horse centered in between your two reins and your two legs. Then go ahead and just practice side bending in that crescent moon a little bit. But how we cue this is you don't just throw yourself over to the side. That's not really the yoga. The yoga is lifting the toes, rooting through the feet, spreading the muscles in the feet and the ankles so you feel like you're growing into the earth, to hold yourself in center as you breathe tall, expanding that area between your tailbone and your crown of your head. So really like you're a sunflower reaching up towards the sky. And then you let we're going to have one hand for now follow up as you're finding that slow center in the middle. And then a nice deep breath in, and then exhale slowly as you anchor and side bend over. It might be subtle, and you're going to feel your horse adjust. You might feel insecurities crop up, but this is where the yoga becomes more of a flow, a soft partnering dance, an exploration of feelings together. And by feelings, I mean the nerve connections, the muscle engagements, the actual physical feelings in the body. And as you explore that, you can maybe go a little deeper, maybe come out of it a little bit more. And the focus really isn't on the arm reaching overhead. Actually, it's in the roots. So once you feel those roots, can you study what happens? Do your ankles go back into the old pattern, or do they simply strengthen and root in a little more engaged way? There we go. So now we have some beautiful half moves. And, you know, as you get maybe a little bit exploring and you're like, whoa, okay, I'm feeling that. And most of the time, physically, you'll find that point when your body has had enough and you'll take a big breath of air and then you can exhale, release the posture. So there's a point when you learn to listen to your body and you'll feel this instinct and need to take a deep breath. And that's the signal to move along. We're going to change sides though. And when you're ready, if you feel comfortable, and this might be something to try standing still first. If our riders would prefer to stand still in the middle here, kind of facing me, I will give them that option because they feel the horses underneath them. They can feel what the horses need. Standing still might not be in their best interest. And if that's the case, I'm standing still and keep breathing. Well, and you can go ahead and do a little bit of side bending, maybe with both hands. And again, it's the emphasis in the ankles. And this is tough because, you know, your audience here, you might not be able to see anything happening. But what I want you to watch is the horses. How are the horses standing? Are they feet still? Are they calm? Not little. And the flexibility isn't really the point here. It's the internal adjustment, the alignment. Are the shoulders still aligned with the hips? Are you still in the middle? Okay. Do you feel like you're going to tip over and fall, or are you going to just be rooted? So, and this has a little bit of a practical application. So if you've ever been lucky enough to trot down a trail that has low-hanging branches and you need to duck, can you do one of these really quick without losing your balance and falling off your horse? If you can, you're doing it right. So there's practical application, the half moon pose, strengthening through the legs, and rooting and anchoring. So when our riders are ready and they're feeling pretty harmonized through that half moon pose, or crescent moon, we'll go to the O part of anchor, which is opening, okay? So the other part of learning how to anchor well is learning how to defeat the instinct. All humans have to curl inward. So whenever things get rough, we go into the fetal position where you want to curl up. And most of the time, it is so instinctive that you won't even know you're doing this when you're getting nervous until you're already there. So what we want to do in an opening series or opening physical postures on a horse is start to open the chest and the shoulders. And you probably heard this a lot in your riding lessons. Is always shoulders back, shoulders back. Well, what if we don't talk about shoulders back? What if instead we let the shoulders drop down and away from the ears as your feet anchor? We're going to join those two motions together. And bringing the heart forward, letting the heart's light and compassion shine through, not being afraid, shining light. And as you Drop those shoulders down and back, and you feel the security in your feet and your ankles as you're rooting down. I'm going to invite all riders to put your reins in one hand and either grab the back of the saddle or put the hand right behind the back, parallel to the ground. Okay, so we're going to do this on both sides. So this is a very gentle version of a yoga posture called Yoga Mudra. And doing it while you're walking can actually soften and massage the muscles all through the neck, shoulders, and to a lesser extent the arm, to bring that heart forward. But see, for the first part you want to do is, again, that anchoring, that rooting through the feet, and then moving the body in more of an open posture. So it's a little more advanced than the crescent moon, because we want to increase that little bit of vulnerability. So when you're a rider, when they have done both arms for, let's say, 3 to 4 deep breaths, letting the horses walk, soften the posture, bringing that heart forward, letting that light shine through. Again, I'm going to invite our riders to come into the middle. For this one, I want them to stand still. So I'm going to have them all come in and stand still. Now we can face the bleachers here. And what we're going to do, sorry, I'm facing my students because it's a habit, is we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. Now, not everybody can do this and touch the palms. That is totally okay. So you can modify this by just grabbing one wrist, or maybe the other. And what you're going to do is, again, root through the feet and bend your hips forwards, keeping that light shine forward. So how is this different from the fetal posture? We're leading with the heart, hinging at the hips. It's almost like a jumping seat, but the feet and the ankles are holding that stability. And this takes a little bit of practice. And so a true yoga mudra posture on the mat looks something like this. You hinge and let the body drop, and you just let your hands move over your head. Okay? On a horse, again, the emphasis is opening yourself up to that ability to settle and stand still. There's a lot of horses, they'll feel you lean forward and they'll walk off, right? So can you root and breathe? Very good, very good. Try not to drop your head down. You want to look ahead. So we're going to protect our necks, and by looking forward, and then just exhale, and then inhale, strongly root down and inhale up. So there's the yoga flow. Okay? So this is something pretty fun that, you can do this at all gaits. Any of these you can do at all gaits, but the nuance is all about the connections being made. So typically this practice is for a nice slow ride, maybe when you have a horse that had a long weekend at a show and you just want to relax with them. This is where the yoga is really great. When you're getting them in shape for the spring, when you want to do something different than your typical riding practice, this is really enhancing it. So once you've felt pretty good about yoga mudra, okay, which is that hinge and that root, if you want to, go ahead and try to interlace those fingers. That is bringing that heart even more forward. It's asking a lot of the body. Can you keep the hips nice and stable? So very nice. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Goblin is very impressed, Sherry. He's saying, I like this. Your heart is open. Yes. And when you're ready, you're going to have a nice, strong inhale and bring yourself up. Yes. And as we finish that, you can give your horses a little breath, a pet, a scratch. part of a good yoga practice, either on the mat or on a horse, is an integration phase where you let your breath return to normal. In typical yoga practice, we'll let you close your eyes and just simmer all the feelings and the muscles and the ligaments. But on a horse, we're going to keep the eyes open and just enjoy each other's company. Really, it's just being settled and quiet and happy horses. So Dory's chewing on his bit. Alvin's just kind of cruising, looking around. So these guys have zero stress right this second in time. So that is a big win, big win. So with that, conclusion of our yoga mudra, we're going to move into more of the R part of our anchor practice, which is resilience. Okay, so I'm going to have everybody walk around again, and I'm going to let them visualize what's going to be happening here, because this is the most advanced yoga posture we do a lot of the times, and it's called eagle posture. So those of you who know eagle on the mat, when you stand up and you wrap your legs together, and you wrap your arms together, and then it's a binding practice in which you push your legs and pull them at the same time. And this is wonderful on a horse. So you're really opening and yet strengthening at the same time. So you can engage and activate. Because it's not just all slow, get letting go. You gotta learn to activate at the right times. And that is what we do to stay resilient. Can you be strong when you need to be strong, and soft when you need to be soft? Okay, so in a lot of horsemanship traditions, now they talk about stopping the brace. Okay? And we don't want a bracy horse, but you don't want a bracy rider either. If your hands brace, your horse will brace. So resilience is building compassionate strength. So you can use your hands, use your reins in that elastic, anchored manner that doesn't create a block or a wall between you and your horse. And this is something that it does not matter what tack you have. You can have a bitless, western shank, snaffle bit. In all traditions, a bracy hand is a bracy hand. If you create a block in the wall, that's not happy for your horse. When we want to have a happy horse and a good partnership and just enjoy each other's company, it's nicer to eliminate that. So how we work on the leg heel here as you're walking around. So we're going to start really lifting the toes in the stirrups. And once you feel that lift in the toe, I want everybody to pretend you have Velcro from the very inner inseam of your pants, from your upper inner thigh down to about mid-calf. Because this isn't a signal to go, it's simply activation of good dynamic muscle readiness. Okay? So when you hug your legs in together in a true eagle, it's learning how to wrap in. So we're going to rotate the upper inner thighs so your hip socket actually rolls and wraps inward. And this is very, with stirrups, without stirrups, you'll feel the benefits either way. And it's subtle, nuanced benefits. But you can see how the horses, the ears are constantly flicking back to the riders. They're saying, oh, something's happening. So we're activating. Okay, so there's some definite connection building. And since Willow this is her very first time in a setting like this, she is stopping and asking Sam, is this okay? So there is that connection. Instead of, getting all stressed out and tense, she's feeling Sam's secure, rooting eagle legs wrapping around her and saying, okay, what next? I got you, you got me. Maybe we should stand here for a second, but okay. So with these eagle legs and that feeling of expanding your hips at the same time you are contracting them in, I want everybody to grow a little taller in the saddle. And then we're going to do that same feeling with the shoulders. So with a horse, if you only want to keep one hand on the reins, if you don't want to drop both reins, you can take one hand and just put it on the opposite shoulder, kind of wrapping your fingertips around your arm, and you'll feel that sensation that your shoulders want to move forward. So if you wrap them back on your back body as you engage your arms towards your armpits, so we're going to roll our elbows in towards the armpits. Again, it's a subtle move. As you hold that shoulder, you'll feel that push-pull motion, that spread in the back of the neck, and that push motion. So you're going to push your hand into your arm and your arm into your hand at the same time. So with that push-pull, you're developing that expansion through the back of the shoulder, and there you can open that heart even more, but with a little more strength instead of passiveness. And that is, again, a huge indicator to your horse that, oh, I think we're going to maybe move into something else. So here's that resilience coming into play. So if you guys want to switch arms, if you haven't already, and then depending on where you're at with your horse and mind-body connection, if you want to come into the middle, we'll do the full wrap with the arms. Or if not, I'll let you just continue to walk around the edge. So again, if you can, yeah, that's good. That's it. So go ahead and just exhale to a halt. Always exhale to slow, exhale to halt. And when you're ready, you're going to first root through the feet. Always starts in the feet, always starts in the pelvis. We're going to do right elbow under left. And again, you can hug the shoulders. So if your shoulders are a little rough, they're scarred up, you got some arthritis, there's modifications. This is going to give you a very good feel of this posture. This is the gentle yoga version. If you have a little more and you want to play, you can wrap and grab your wrists. And it varies from day to day, depends on everybody's effort and tension level. And then deep full breath in, expand upward. And then exhale, maybe a little round, so you can test your resilience. Yeah, Willow's getting pretty comfortable, she says, Sam. So go ahead and just put your arms out like that, center, there we go. And now we're going to do left arm under left, right elbow, there you go. There you go, beautiful. Beautiful eagle posture here. And then you're going to feel that expansion. And if you guys in the bleachers want to do this, go ahead. It's really great feeling, especially if you're carrying a heavy bag all around and your shoulders are feeling a little rough. You're going to feel that stretch in the back of your body, back of the neck. And then you're going to exhale. This is why it's called eagle. You let your arms out wide like you're an eagle taking flight. And then exhale, release. It's a very beautiful balancing posture, and it really translates well to horseback riding, because when you get the sense that you can hang out in midair, then on a horse that wobbles and moves a little bit, there's your resilience, there's your ability to adapt and come back. So now that we've really played with the whole anchoring, okay, the awareness, the nourishing, the centering, harmony, opening, rooting, and resilience. I'm going to invite our riders to pick up a little more contact and play with some upward and downward transitions. And in yoga, in the exploration, there's usually a balanced yoga flow practice that I tend to teach. A little bit of a time period where students can play in their own zone and their own time, instead of being cued specifically by an instructor. So I'm giving all of our riders permission, which doesn't often happen in a riding lesson. I want them to explore these themes all on their own. And then I can help mitigate, interpret, and help them root. So a little more contact with Willow there. And play with the subtlest inhales and activations for maybe an upward transition, and maybe the softening and letting go. Exhale for downward. There, Lori's picking up a little more of what we call a working walk. Okay, a little more activation through his back. And Goblin is finding a nice job. And here the idea is to play and explore with how smooth and soft can you maintain it without too much effort. So if you've ever been on a horse that you feel like you gotta push, push, push to keep trotting, and maybe if you just got out of their way by leading with the heart, by giving them a little more compassion, they might just trot right off before you even say move. And here's that time to play with that. Very good. The Goblin's jaw is got very free right there with the yoga mudra pose. Beautiful extended jaw, right in line with working ranch. And Willow is gaining her confidence. She is a Tennessee walker, so her walk will be a little stronger. So with Willow, sometimes the exploration, it might be something like slowing her down, the subtlest cues, exhaling, holding a little bit more root, a little more anchor all through. There Willow is concentrating, her ears are very much thinking about it. She's falling behind Glory now as she trots away. So this is what a dynamic yoga and riding practice looks like. Is it like spectacular and fireworks and earth-shattering? No, but the hands barely move. I don't know if you've noticed on all of our riders, they have barely touched their horses' faces. Okay, we're working purely through the seat. In dressage terms, this is called an independent seat. And I haven't really used a lot of riding terms, even though this is so similar to a lot of them, because this is a way of teaching those methods. I mean, we're teaching a lot of the dressage and independent seats, but we're using yoga as a filter, as a translator, and going deeper, faster. So just as a aside here, so Sherry is a very experienced rider. Sam on Willow has really only been riding for about 2 years. Emily is our rider who's in her on and off again phase. You know, most of our riders have a situation where they might have a young horse and they haven't ridden a lot, and their muscles are, you just haven't ridden a while, so your muscles are coming back and forth and back and forth. So in all this different levels, it's still giving these different riders information. It's still developing nuance and depth to the seat and the riding. So I'm going to start to invite our riders to slow down and maybe come into the center. And after our exploration phase, we typically settle down in a yoga routine to have a beautiful integration. It's called Shavasana, typically, where you really get to let go and reap the rewards of the physical practice. We're not going to do a full Shavasana. We're not just going to lay on our horses because that wouldn't be safe, number one. And it's not serving the horses. The horses aren't a yoga mat. What we're going to do is tap into that slow, steady breath and feel that connection, that beauty that we've all witnessed. And take a nice deep breath and give your horses, I call it the namaste hug. Let yourself sit right around your horse, wrap your arms around like a little kids there, giving your horses nice deep hugs. They're dropping their heads. You're saying, okay, I might have to the gate now. But there he goes. There's starting to chew, they're softening. And we're really, it's a gratitude practice, saying thank you, thank you, thank you to our horses. So those of you who aren't familiar with the word namaste, it's part of the yoga India Sanskrit tradition. Okay, Sanskrit is the language that yoga is taught in typically, and so namaste is translated as may the light within me honor the light within you. So, I mean, imagine saying that to your horse after every ride. How beautiful is that? And I hope that you all can do that for your horse. So we're going to have a nice little Om together, the sound of Om being the way we close a practice, being the sacred frequency of union or yoga. So I'll let our riders Om along with me if they would like, or anybody else who wants to. And I'll take a nice deep breath. Om. And I say namaste to my audience here. And if you have any questions on what you saw today, please let me know. Wave your hands around. And yeah, I want to thank our riders, Emily and Sam and Sherry and the horses. And I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.